Hi there, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm Ani Anderson, and I'm the CEO and co founder here at the Somatic Coaching Academy. I'm really excited that you decided to join me, whether you're live or watching the recording today. I'm going to be sharing how I keep myself calm and productive during these chaotic times using this one easy strategy I'm going to be telling you about. And, I don't know about you. Life was already crazy enough with this thing in our pockets all the time and all the notifications and the pings and things to keep on top of. Life is crazy enough. But now we open the news and we hear about or watch these crazy, chaotic things that are going on out in the world. If you're like me, you don't want to get too wrapped up in it because you want to be able to serve your communities and your family, the people that you serve at work. You want to be able to be the person you want to be. You don't want to get wrapped up in all this crazy stuff, but there's crazy stuff going on. And you also know that you're here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. And part of that purpose is to be a helpful human, to be a conscious leader. And in order to be able to do that, we need to stay calm. Stay calm. We need to be able to stay centered in our purpose with intention so that we can really make an impact. And so for me, one of the things that I hear over and over again out there is that people are either already meditators who they want to be meditating more often right now, or they haven't been meditators before and they want to start meditating because they think that's the way that they're going to be able to stay calm and centered. There's something to that, but there's more to it that I want to talk to you about today. I started meditating when I was about 21. I'll be honest with you. I think I started meditating to find enlightenment. I studied with a Sangha, which is a meditation practice community in Albany, New York, in the tradition of Thich Nhat Hanh. I was a regular. I'd go every week. I had a Dharma teacher who I worked with. And, I tried to sit on the cushion, calm my mind so that I could find this state of, again, I thought it was probably enlightenment that I was looking for. And I had moments where I was more calm and more centered and more present. I did, but I also had a lot of frustration because the thoughts in my head wouldn't stop talking to me. I remember I asked my Dharma teacher about this one time, and she said, "You're normal. That's the purpose. The purpose is to sit on our cushion and watch our thoughts." And I thought, well, that kind of stinks because I can hear my thoughts all the time. I want to break from them. But I was also, 20 something at the time. And life was, well, I thought it was chaotic already until I had kids. Then I had young kids and a family. And boy, that ups the ante on stress and chaos that's going on in the house. So I started to try to meditate again because I'd kind of stopped when I had my kids, and I got my cushion and I got a place in my house and I set it up. And, the meditation just wasn't working anymore. If there was any quiescence that I was finding before I had kids, it was really hard once I had kids. So, they say, well, if you want to make meditation a practice, you got to do it first thing in the morning. And my kids woke up really crazy early. So it's 6 o'clock in the morning, So I started waking up at 5:30 to meditate. And son of a gun, they started waking up at 5:30 too. It's like they knew. Anyway, I'd sit on my cushion. I'd find 5 minutes. People would be crying. I could hear the stress of the house. It wasn't working. It wasn't really until I got my Tai Chi and Qigong certification. It was, a few years after. I think my kids were about 6 and 3. And that is when I learned to center in a certain way. And I started to have a whole new kind of centering practice after that certification. So I actually got divorced after that. It was a very public divorce. And the chaos of my life was even more than just, young kids and a family. And I really put the Qigong and Tai Chi certification to the test. I learned how to use meditative movement, self-massage, breathwork practices in a certain way. And my ability actually to be able to find quiescence was remarkably even easier than when I was a seated meditator back in the days before I had a family, because I was doing the meditation and the centering in a certain way that helped me to get an experience that actually really helped me to center and find quiet. And I was able to be more purposeful in my life. I knew I was on to something with this. And, as I continued to grow and be out there in this crazy world, I'm very thankful that I have the practices to come back to that actually help me to find calm and center. And they don't have to take a whole lot of time either, but they're predictable. So today I have 3 tips to share with you if you want to be calm and productive during these chaotic times. And one strategy that they all come back to, and that is core centering, which is a process, a methodology that my partner and I developed after learning about Tai Chi and Qigong that makes it even more accessible for anyone to use and easy to do anywhere. So the core centering program that we teach at the Somatic Coaching Academy, we will be presenting at the Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health in May. And if what I'm bringing to you today is helpful, I encourage you to register and join us. It's 4 days at Kripalu. So you get to get centered and reset, because everybody needs that. Not just every day, but actually to get out in the world. And I'll tell you about that in a minute, because that's one of my tips. So, if you need a reset, come join us at May at Kripalu. I'll put a link in the comments below the video when we're done. So here's tip number 1. Centering is about the nervous system, not just the brain. It's interesting because we hear the brain talking to us all the time, and we think what we need to do is shut it up. But we actually can shut it up even easier when we tackle the nervous system instead of trying to come at the brain. So I started to learn about the importance of nervous system regulation in college. I was working with children with disabilities at the Denver Children's Hospital, which is a renowned research facility working with children. I think oftentimes when we think about centering, we think about, quieting that voice in our mind, which is like, we think I'll take a few deep breaths or I'll sit on my cushion. But the thing I learned when we were teaching the kids at Denver Children's was this program called How to Tame Your Engine Speed. And it taught kids to recognize when they were revved up or when they were like slumpy, and they didn't have enough energy. And what we taught them was whole body strategies, not just the brains, not just their brains, to help the kids get centered and have a regulated nervous system. After I graduated, I got into holistic health. And early in my career, I realized that holistic strategies could help people to change their state, their nervous system state when needed. So I was starting to put more connections together with the engine speed and the holistic studies. I studied a lot of holistic practices. It wasn't until I got my Tai Chi and Qigong certification that it really started to all come together. And I started to understand this package of how to center the nervous system and quiet the brain so the mind could relax. But the number one thing that you need to know if you want to quiet the mind and feel centered is that centering happens with and in the body. It's not just the brain. It's not just the mind and the thoughts. The whole body, the nervous system, is the whole body. And that's really where you want to target. So if you want to help yourself, your clients, your teams get centered, you have to get the whole nervous system on board. It's not just about sitting on the cushion, taking a deep breath. That's fine. But when you use a holistic approach, it's faster. It actually works easier, and more people can have results with it. So it's more predictable. We have lots of students who have major ahas when they stop trying to center on a cushion and they start using their whole body and their nervous system to center. I remember at Kripalu last year, we were working with a student who's a longtime meditator, and she found this newfound experience of quiescence, of quiet inside that she had never experienced before. And it was because she was practicing core centering and doing things in a certain way with her nervous system. There's this desired meditative state so many people want. I wanted it. couldn't seem to get it. It's not because people are doing anything wrong per se. It's because they don't have all the right ingredients in their practice and they're not getting their whole nervous system on board. But when you get your whole nervous system on board and you do practices in a certain way, then the brain can relax, the nervous system can relax, and that reset that we're looking for is actually within our grasp. Tip number 2. Don't open Pandora's box. So as soon as we start doing centering practices, whether it's with ourselves, with other people, we risk opening up a person's past trauma and emotional content. Even when we're working with ourselves, we risk kind of subconsciously, not consciously, sabotaging ourselves from getting to that quiet state of mind that we so desperately think we want. But what we don't realize is subconsciously, not consciously, what we allow ourselves to not get centered, we're protecting ourselves from what could actually come up. Because the fact is that when we relax the mind and we relax the body, emotions can come out. What we fear most, our shame, our guilt, whatever's going on in here that we don't want people to know about, because we're all supposed to be so professional, is being held at bay by a nice thin layer of muscular tension. So when you start to relax that muscle tension, stuff can come out. We think we can grab a few practices to do with our clients or ourselves or our teams on Instagram or something like that and put them into practice and I'm just going to grab a breath practice, a quick meditation. It's almost like a party trick. But when we do that, we're putting ourselves in a position to have the other person who we're helping have emotions come up that we don't know how to, with full integrity, handle. I learned this the hard way as a young holistic therapist. I was really good at relaxing people. The joke at our wellness center was that I could put people to sleep. Now the joke is that I can make people cry, but I know how to handle it. So anyway, when I was a young therapist, one of my superpowers was relaxing people. And what started to happen was people's stuff would come up, people's emotional stuff. And as a young therapist, I didn't know how to handle that yet. I was an occupational therapist and, I learned some of that stuff in school, but I definitely was not masterful at it. It wasn't until I learned the trauma-informed approaches that allow us to create safe environments for our clients, that when the client could relax and stuff came out, they weren't at risk of me not being able to handle what came out. So now we teach trauma-sensitive somatic coaching practices at the Somatic Coaching Academy that we've developed here. And not only do I know that I can handle absolutely anything that comes up, the people who are certified with us are equipped to be able to actually handle the things that come up for people when we're encouraging people to get centered and relax with us. So when you learn core centering practices with the Somatic Coaching Academy, you can be assured that you'll be able to handle what comes up. You'll be a trauma-informed practitioner who can understand what to look for, know how to handle it, and also know what you can't handle and how to make a referral. You don't have to be afraid of challenging emotions coming up for people or for yourself anymore. And now more than ever, people are really at risk for their stuff coming up because the stuff that's happening out there in the world is triggering. It's activating. And our stuff is like really close to the surface. As soon as we start to relax a little bit, it could really pop up, So I remember a student who took the core centering class with us who had been having trouble getting her business off the ground. And after taking the core centering class, she went home and she launched her new business. And because she had this newfound confidence. And the interesting thing was the confidence that was gained wasn't just from the centering practices. It wasn't just because she knew what to do with her clients to do the centering practices. It was because she knew that she could handle the things that came up with her clients. See, like I said, we subconsciously will disallow ourselves, not consciously, from getting to that centered place because we subconsciously fear that our stuff will come up and other people will see. And when you know the trauma sensitive practices and the trauma informed practices that are taught with core centering, you don't have to be afraid of that. And you can actually finally freaking relax and be a safe place for other people to do that as well. Tip number 3, get out to get in. Yes, it is great that we can do everything on Zoom and on our computers. It's awesome. It's the new world. We can even learn somatic practices online. It's great. But I think the pandemic showed us that there is nothing like in person. There's nothing like being with people in a community with people. And a lot of people have forgotten that. If you're a person who has gotten out of your day-to-day from time to time and reset because you have, for example, a quarterly mastermind with your colleagues, or you travel for business sometimes, or you go on retreats for yourself. If you're a person who has gotten out of your day-to-day to reset, you know what I'm talking about. You know how powerful this is. If you haven't been doing that, you've forgotten how powerful it is. I don't love leaving my house. I am a person who would be very happy to hang out in comfy clothes and hang out with my kitty cat. But the change in scenery is imperative to having new ideas, motivation, new insights, getting back in touch with what's most important in my life and business. Especially as leaders, we not only owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our teams, and we owe it to everybody we serve. As business owners, as practitioners, as parents, as community members, we need the space to reset. We need the space to decompress for a few days. We need to find ourselves again, to center ourselves again. And when we do that, we can bring it back to our clients, to our teams, to our businesses, to our families. It's not a matter of not being able to afford it because we can't find the time, we can't find the money. It's about affording ourselves the opportunity to realize the resources to support what we need is there. It's our birthright to get the space to feel centered, and the universe will support you in being resourceful to find the resources and time and money to be able to do this and get out of the chaos, because we need to take a stand for our sanity. We had multiple people join us at Kripalu last year at the Core Centering program who had already taken the program with us virtually. They wanted to experience it live, which I thought was great. Seeing the change that people had because they got out, because they spent a number of days getting centered together, was really profound. Upon leaving, multiple people moved forward with things that they were stalling on, that they had forgotten were important. And that's always one of my favorite things to see happen as a natural consequence of, it's like a natural side effect of getting out and getting centered for a few days. One of our students hesitated in coming to join us because the fact was it was really hard to leave. They had a lot of stuff that was, responsibilities at home. It was hard to find the time and the people to be able to take those responsibilities over. But he did make a stand for his sanity, and he came. And he not only gained new skills, but he remembered what was really important to him. He went home, he made some big decisions in his business. And they had such a great year that year that their accountant got nervous for them. Have you ever made your accountant nervous? Mark, if you're listening to this, I do strive to make you nervous, because when you get nervous, it means we've had a really great year. What are we going to do with all that extra money? It's true that it can be kind of fun to make your accountant nervous. So in a large part, I know that growth came from the fact that they took a stand for themselves to come to Kripalu and get that reset that they needed to remember what was important and to move forward with important things in their life and business. So if you're committed to sanity over chaos, centering over scatteredness, if you're committed to truly aligning with your intentions and productivity over the course of your life and your business, if that's really important to you, if you're tired of reacting to the external impulses and you really want to act from the internal impulses from within, those aligned impulses, I do invite you to come join us this May at Kripalu. Core centering program dates are May 18th through 22nd. You'll be afforded with the time you need to find yourself again, not needing to worry about cooking or cleaning or doing the dishes for a few days, which I don't know about you is like the best. Staying in the beautiful Berkshire Mountains, taking some time and space to be present in nature, catching some hammock time, sitting by the lake. You'll have the turnkey core centering toolbox that'll include centering strategies you need to center yourself to lead your clients and your teams through centering practices. You'll even be able to lead workshops and classes if you want to, or just sprinkle core centering into the things that you're already doing. We'll give you time-tested business strategies to be able to bring these practices to life. We've been doing this for a long time, and we can help you to easily integrate these things into your business. You'll get to reap the days of multiple days centering yourself with a community that is amazing, in a place that is amazing, and really get that reset for you. So we'll put a link to it below the video. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us directly at info@somaticcoachingacademy.com. I hope these tips were helpful to you so that you can be the person you want to be. I think it matters more than ever that people who care to really be intentional, loving, compassionate, awesome human beings take the time to center themselves in their alignment, in their authenticity and purpose, so that we can go out and make the difference that we know we can make in the world. Thanks for joining me today. I look forward to seeing your insights and comments below, and catch you real soon. Bye for now.